soldier, it may be too late to feel human.
How do you know they'll be back?
Because they're soldiers like me. But it's never too late to be a hero. I'm going to kill them all.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars and welcome to another misunderstood movie review. This is reviews that I look at for films that I think are misunderstood. Films that flopped at the time for whatever reason, but I think deserve respect, certainly, to be watched. And today I'm taking a look at the 1998 science fiction action film Soldier. The film is directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, and it stars Kurt Russell, Jason Scott Lee, Jason Isaacs, Connie Nielsen, Sean Pertwee, and the legend that is Gary Busey. Right, the film follows Kurt Russell's character Todd 3465. He is a soldier, and it is set in the future. He is trained to be a soldier from birth, essentially. Babies are then selected at birth, the ones that are, really genetically gifted. They are trained from baby right through to adulthood to be essentially killing machines. And Kurt Russell's Todd is one of the best ever. He has literally hundreds and hundreds of confirmed kills in a number of different conflicts throughout the years. He is a veteran now at this stage. And he's in between wars. And then he is introduced to a new group of recruits who Jason Isaacs is in command of. He explains that these new recruits are faster, better, stronger in every way compared to the older recruits. Once they are put to the test, they kill two of the veterans, and Kurt Russell's character is seriously injured. They are dumped off on a waste disposal planet, assuming that Todd is dead along with his other comrades, but he's not dead. He wakes up injured, discovers a community on this planet, and struggles to fit in with this community because of his upbringing and his history as a soldier. However, while completing a sweep of that system, these so-called super soldiers, and with Jason Isaacs, Gary Busey, and the others, as go down to this planet, discover that there are people living on there, treat them as hostiles, and decide to annihilate them. But what they don't reckon is coming up against Todd 3465, who vows to kill them all. Right, what are my thoughts on Soldier? I think this is an absolutely excellent film. I went to see this at the time when it came out at the cinema. I remember being really excited to see it. I thought the trailer looked fabulous. I was a big fan of Kurt Russell, always have been, still am. I think Kurt Russell is, number one, a brilliant actor, and number two, able to kind of do action films effortlessly. And in actual fact, he spent 18 months preparing for this role, getting in tip-top condition, and he is in absolutely superb condition, probably the best condition of his career in this film. No surprise, really, because his paycheck was around $20 million for this film. It was, at the time, quite a big budgeted affair. That absolutely flopped at the cinema, which is why I'm doing a misunderstood movie review for this. I'm staggered that this flopped at the cinema. I really am, because it is, I think, really well made. It's a compelling story, and I think it's got a brilliant setup. It goes through the whole sequence of Kurt Russell's Todd from a baby right the way through young boy, adolescent, and in actual fact his son Wyatt Russell plays his dad as an 11-year-old in this film, because I remember at the time watching him running with a flag thinking, my God, that looks so much like Kurt Russell, and I wouldn't have had a clue at the time that was his son. But yeah, Wyatt Russell's in this. It does the whole thing going through up to adolescence, teenager, and then right through to short clips of him doing some of his conflict stroke wars. So it's a fabulous setup. It sets the film up brilliantly. You know the world that you're in, and it's actually set in the same universe as Blade Runner, this film as well. So you're really on board very, very quickly with this film. And then when Kurt Russell and two of his comrades are taken out effortlessly by Jason Scott Lee's Kane 607, it kind of breaks your heart a little bit. And then to see the film then shifts pace a little bit. And maybe this is why people kind of fell out with the film a little bit, because the trailer doesn't present it like this, really. It just presents it as a balls-to-the-wall action flick. Set in space. The trailer even shows like space battles and all sorts of stuff, and you don't really get any of that in the film. It's not up until the first section of the film is good action, very first section, and the last act of the film is full on action. But the stuff in between is really a fish out of water story. You've got this soldier bred for killing, trying to settle into a community of peaceful people, who are just trying to survive, and they are good people, and they are absolutely terrified of Todd, rightfully so. So a lot of it is him trying to fit into this community of peace-loving, humans, and he really, really is struggling. And ultimately, they turn their back on him because of his inability to, settle into the community. And there's a really brilliant scene, I think. I mean, now, Kurt Russell only speaks 104 words in this film, which you might think is criminal when you consider the actor, Kurt Russell, only speaking 104 words, but it's perfect for the character of Todd. And so there are quite a few scenes in this film where Kurt Russell doesn't say a word, but his acting says everything. There's two scenes in particular that stand out to me. There's the one where Connie Nielsen realizes the kind of life he has led and feels nothing but sympathy for him and decides to give him a hug. And he is so uneasy about that that he's actually shaking. Todd's character is shaking because he can't handle it. He can't handle that kind of human contact. It's fabulous. And then the scene later on where he gets banished from this community because they are worried and scared of him. And the scene where he's just sat on his own and tears start running down his face. It's absolutely heartbreaking. And ultimately, the film, at the very core of it, has a really, really big heart. And I think it's a really fine performance by Kurt Russell. It's a brilliant physical performance, but it's also a great acting performance. And it goes to show why they chose Kurt Russell for this part, because it did need a strong actor for this role, not just a physical action actor. Do you know what I mean? If you'd have got someone like Schwarzenegger to play this part, he wouldn't have been able to do the emotional stuff that Kurt Russell did in this film, and the real art of acting without saying anything is not an easy thing to do, and it's only truly fine actors that can do it. So I think maybe the middle section of the film, with him settling into the community, etc., maybe some people don't like that because it slows the pace of the film down. I actually think that's probably the most important part of the film. It's the real heart and core of the film. And then the final act of the film, where he basically becomes what he is, which is a killer again, to kill these so-called superior soldiers. He just takes them out effortlessly, really, and it's brilliant to watch. I mean, it's essentially a rip-off of Rambo. The scenes at the end is sneaking around and taking them out one by one, sort of thing. But it's undeniably fantastically entertaining to watch. And then to see the Weasley Jason Isaacs character, the Colonel, basically wet his pants when he comes face to face with Kurt Russell again. The realization of who it actually is, it's done what he's done to him and his so-called super soldiers, is a really nice cherry on top of the cake. And to see as well Kurt Russell making a connection to the young boy, Connie Nielsen's son in the film, and Sean Pertwee's son in the film, this young boy who is essentially a mute. And to see him kind of build this bond with Todd's, Kurt Russell's Todd character, to the point at the end of the film where he's kind of lifting him up and showing him what's out there, sort of thing. I think it ticks so many boxes, this film. I really genuinely feel this is massively underrated. It's usually entertaining as a sci-fi action film. It's got so many great parts to it. It is, at the core, some fabulous acting as well involved here, and it's got a great story. I think it's paced just perfectly. You got a great setup, then you get the heart of the film delivered, and then you get the balls to the wall action at the end of the film, and the great confrontation at the end between Todd and Jason Scott Lee's Kane 607, which is what we've all been waiting for throughout the whole film, and it doesn't really fail to disappoint, because Todd uses his experience to outsmart Kane 607, which I thought was really, really cool. So yeah, I love this film. Definitely one of my favourites. I've got this. I'm sure I got this from an import. I don't know. I think a Danish import. I got this on Blu-ray. I don't know if there's been like a UK version of this on the Blu-ray, a special edition. I would love, if some Arrow or something did us like a special edition of this. I'd be well interested in that. So let me know your thoughts. Have you seen Soldier? Do you, like me, think it's really underrated, or do you, think it kind of deserved to flop when it came out? I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, and I will of course be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.